Context: Cambodia had been a French colony until 1953, when it gained independence under King Norodom Sihanouk. In the years that followed, Cambodia was embroiled in political turmoil, with various factions vying for power. The country was also drawn into the larger conflict of the Vietnam War, as both the United States and North Vietnam used Cambodia as a staging ground for their operations. Amid this instability, the Communist Party of Kampuchea, CPK, which would later be known as the Khmer Rouge, gradually gained strength. The CPK was influenced by Marxist-Leninist ideology, but under Pol Pot, it developed a unique and extreme vision of communism. The party sought to completely eradicate the existing Cambodian society and rebuild it from the ground up. Rise to power. In April 1975, the Khmer Rouge seized control of Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, and declared the beginning of Year Zero. This marked the start of their radical social experiment. The Khmer Rouge immediately evacuated cities, forcing millions of people into the countryside to work in agricultural labor camps. They believed that urban dwellers, intellectuals, and professionals were corrupted by capitalism and thus had to be re-educated or eliminated. Anyone who opposed or was perceived as a threat to the regime was targeted for execution. The Khmer Rouge specifically targeted intellectuals, religious figures, and ethnic minorities. Even wearing glasses, which was seen as a sign of intellectualism, could lead to execution. Schools, hospitals, and factories were shut down, and the currency was abolished as part of the regime's attempt to create a completely agrarian, self-sufficient society. The genocide. The Khmer Rouge's policies led to mass suffering and death. The regime's forced labor programs resulted in widespread starvation and disease. The agricultural policies, which were based on the unrealistic goal of achieving rice production quotas that far exceeded the country's capacity, led to food shortages. Workers in the fields were given minimal rations, and those who did not meet the quotas were often punished or killed. The regime also carried out mass executions at sites that became known as killing fields. Perhaps the most infamous of these was the Choang Ek killing field, where thousands of men, women, and children were executed and buried in mass graves. Tuol Sleng, a former high school that was converted into a prison and torture center, became another symbol of the regime's brutality. Of the estimated 17,000 people imprisoned at Tuol Sleng, only a handful survived. Ideology and social engineering. Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge leadership sought to create a utopian society free of social classes, private property, religion, and foreign influence. The regime was heavily influenced by Maoist ideology, particularly the concept of the Great Leap Forward. But Pol Pot took these ideas to the extreme. The Khmer Rouge believed that Cambodia could be returned to an idealized state of self-sufficiency, where the population would live off the land without reliance on modern technology or foreign aid. To achieve this vision, the regime pursued policies of radical social engineering. The family unit was dismantled, as children were separated from their parents and placed in communal living arrangements where they were indoctrinated with Khmer Rouge ideology. Religion, which had been an integral part of Cambodian society, was outlawed, and Buddhist monks were defrocked, imprisoned, or killed. Ethnic minorities, particularly the Cham Muslims and ethnic Vietnamese, were systematically persecuted. The Khmer Rouge also sought to eliminate all traces of foreign influence in Cambodia. They shut down embassies, expelled foreigners, and severed diplomatic ties with most of the world. The regime's isolationism extended to the economy, as they refused international aid and relied entirely on domestic production, despite the severe shortages of food and resources. Fall of the Khmer Rouge. By 1978, the Khmer Rouge's relationship with neighboring Vietnam had deteriorated. Tensions between the two countries had been simmering for years, particularly over territorial disputes along their shared border. The Khmer Rouge's paranoid leadership believed that Vietnam posed a threat to their revolution and began launching attacks on Vietnamese border villages. In response, Vietnam invaded Cambodia in December 1978. By January 1979, the Vietnamese army had captured Phnom Penh, and the Khmer Rouge regime collapsed. Pol Pot and his followers fled into the jungles near the Thai border, where they continued to wage a guerrilla war against the Vietnamese-backed government of Cambodia.